When I fired up A Plague Tale Requiem, it immediately felt like putting on a familiar pair of shoes, albeit ones caked in medieval muck and swarming with rats. The game carries the soul of its predecessor, A Plague Tale Innocence, but polishes it to shine just a little brighter. We're still on the run with Amicia and Hugo, the sibling duo whose bond somehow survives waves of death, destruction, and Hugo's penchant for rat-based genocide. Let's talk story first because, oh boy, is it good. The narrative picks up where Innocence left off and introduces us to new locations, deeper mysteries, and a whole lot of plague history. Yes, we get answers to some burning questions about the origins of the plague and its first carriers, which was surprisingly compelling. There's even an island with this king-queen couple. You'll hear the queen referred to as Mother by the locals, who, spoiler alert, seem like wonderful, benevolent rulers until their whole sanity thing starts to crack. Their arc slowly unveils the darker layers of their reality, making the story even more captivating. Hugo's powers also level up in ways that feel both horrifying and awesome. Remember how he could sense rats in Innocence? Well, now you can control entire hordes of them like you're directing a medieval zombie apocalypse. The game even shifts to the rat's point of view, letting you scurry through cracks, swarm enemies, and reduce soldiers to nothing more than a scream and a skeleton. It's both thrilling and grotesque, and it adds a new dimension to the gameplay. Unfortunately, the game doesn't always follow through on its moral dilemmas. There's a cutscene where Amicia firmly tells Hugo that killing is wrong and they need to avoid it at all costs.
Hugo! You don't kill people just like that! You don't attack people by yourself!
And then, moments later, you're let loose to kill, maim, and unleash your rat army, all without any consequences or acknowledgement. It's a bit jarring and undercuts what could have been a more impactful message. Speaking of characters, Lucas and Beatrice return from the first game, but they're relegated to the sidelines this time. Lucas pops in occasionally to offer some assistance, and Beatrice, well, she's there, but she doesn't really do much apart from reminding you that she's Hugo's mom. It's a shame because both characters had potential for deeper involvement but ended up as more of an afterthought. Let's not sugarcoat it. Hugo's constant whining can be very grating. Yes, he's a kid and kids whine, but there's a fine line between realistic child dialogue and please stop talking, Hugo. He's adorable and integral to the story, but his endless complaining made me want to summon the rats on him a couple of times. The gameplay itself is largely what you'd expect if you played the first game. There's a lot of sneaking, solving puzzles, and creatively murdering enemies with Amicia's sling or Hugo's rats. The puzzles, while fun, aren't particularly challenging, but they are engaging enough to keep the pace moving. However, the repetitiveness of certain mechanics like lighting braziers or guiding rats with fire can make parts of the game feel a bit too familiar. The game's visuals and locations, though, are absolutely stunning. From the eerie medieval streets to the lush, mysterious island, the environments are dripping with atmosphere. It's not just pretty, it's immersive, drawing you deeper into the story and making the short 14 to 15 hours feel well spent. And honestly, the lack of side missions or filler content means that those hours are tightly packed with meaningful story beats. You're not wasting time chasing collectibles or grinding for XP, which is a breath of fresh air in today's open-world heavy gaming landscape. Now, about that ending. Without spoiling too much, it's a departure from the first game's boss battle, and not in a bad way. It's more somber, focusing on the emotional toll of everything Amicia and Hugo have been through. The conclusion is sad, poignant, and fitting for the journey we've been on. It's not the explosive finale some might expect, but it's one that will stick with you.
Been happy with you. Goodbye, Amicia.
I love you! I love you so much!
In the end, A Plague Tale Requiem feels like a love letter to fans of the first game. It builds on what worked, fixes some of what didn't, and delivers a tightly woven story that's both heart-wrenching and captivating. Sure, it's not perfect. The repetitiveness, Hugo's whining, and underutilized characters hold it back a bit. But if you're looking for a narrative-driven experience that's equal parts beautiful and bleak, this game is absolutely worth your time. If you have suggestions for me, please let me know in the comments, and if you want more videos like this, please hit that like button and subscribe. Thank you for watching.